Hi world, this is Lisa Friedrichsen, your friend and computer science professor from Johnson County Community College. In this short screencast, we're going to cover two big objectives. We're going to compare basic function notation with the new ES6 ECMAScript 6 arrow function notation. And we're also going to talk about prefix and postfix operators. Now this little page that I have loaded up, I've got the console open already, comes from this page of code that I've got opened in Notepad++. And in the script section, I've got some functions. And you have probably learned how to create functions using function declaration syntax. By the word syntax, I just mean the rules by which we write our functions. In function declaration syntax, we use the function keyword, the function name, any arguments inside of parentheses that we want to pass that function when we run it. And then inside the curly braces, we have our statements that will run when we call that function. So I just have one statement here, console log, hi, the name, whatever's fed to the function, and an exclamation point. I have no return statement. So this is going to be a side effect function that just has this side effect and doesn't really return an answer when it is run. And let's just try that over in the console here. I'll try my hi function. I'll feed it a string of a name and hit enter, and that will run that function, which gives me this side effect. On line 20, I'm console logging out hi, my name, and an exclamation point. And it's returning undefined because there's no specific return statement here. Another very common way of declaring a function, though, is not by declaring the function name, but by using an expression. And by the word expression, we mean we're declaring a variable and we're assigning it to an expression. That expression happens to be a function. So the variable name becomes the function name itself and is used just like hi, we're going to use welcome. And it's going to run the statement, whatever's inside the curly braces, when I feed it one argument. Let's try that down here in the console. Welcome. This time I'll say Douglas, my husband's name. And I get welcome Douglas from line 24, and so this is being run. It's important to wrap your brain around function expression notation so that you can move into arrow functions, because the new arrow functions for these four functions below pattern themselves after the function expression syntax versus the function declaration syntax. And that's one of the things that I think personally is hard to learn in programming, that there's two correct ways of doing the same thing. Yes, each has its benefits and slightly different features that it will do, but for basic functions that you're learning when you're first learning JavaScript, they are equivalent ways of doing the same thing. So make sure you're comfortable with this function expression that welcome becomes the function name. And you pass it a value, the arguments, just like you would pass hi, the argument. So welcome becomes a function name here. In this function, completely different syntax, I'm using a function expression because, again, I'm using that assignment operator. So I'm declaring a variable called hello. I'm assigning it to a function. And how do I know that this is a function? Because I see the arrow operator. That basically takes the place of the name function. So when we use these arrow operators, we declare our variable, we assign it to, oh, we're going to feed you an argument before we define what the function does. So this becomes the argument name. This indicates that we're done declaring arguments and we're on to what's inside the curly braces of the function. And the only thing I put here, and I could put this on another line to make my curly braces a little bit more obvious so that it looks much more similar to the function expression. This one's going to console log out hello, the name, and 3 exclamation points. So this is equivalent to welcome. It's just a different function name, and it's using the arrow notation instead of the keyword function. So I'll save and refresh this and try hello. And I'll put in world. And I get hello world from line 28 right here. If there's only one line in the curly braces, then you don't even need to put the curly braces. You can omit the curly braces. So line 31 is equivalent to line 27 without curly braces. And it's the function called hiya. So let's do hi students. Sometimes we call those extra characters that can be omitted sugar. So we're desugaring that statement. Personally, I think it's more confusing when you're learning and you see something desugared. I like to see all the syntax when I'm writing code so that I'm not confused by what is required and what is omitted. But to make sure you're aware that certain things in these arrow functions can be omitted, I'm trying to break that down for you. In this example, in the howdy function, we're declaring a variable called howdy. We're assigning it to, oh, there's only one argument. When there's only one argument, you can omit these parentheses. Let's try howdy. Howdy all. And that one works as well. And finally, if you have a function that does not have any arguments, you simply put the parentheses in, but that's required. If it has no arguments whatsoever, it's just a function that runs without feeding it arguments, then you put in the 2 parentheses, and if it only has one statement, then you can just enter the statement instead of putting the statement in curly braces. Let's try that one. Was up. And because there's no arguments, I just use left and right parentheses to run it. I can put in my semicolon or not. Semicolons are technically not required in JavaScript, but it's a good practice to end every statement in a semicolon just to be intentional about it. And there we go. The wasUp function ran this console log statement. I hope this helped you compare arrow functions in JavaScript to arrow functions in math. I'm going to take the prefix and postfix operators objective for this lesson to another screencast. Thank you.